All right, and we're back here on Coach Live, a special Tuesday edition under the lights because tomorrow is the NBA draft, so we didn't want to, in a sense, impede that and kind of, with a watching app for tomorrow night NBA draft. So we can't come here a day early. What's going on, Mal?
What's up, man?
Not much, man. Same old, just working, doing the same old, man.
Same here, B. One day at a time.
Yep, yep,
One
yep.
multiple day of check and goes off of responsibility. Every day.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, so we got a great show lined up for you tonight. So we'll talk about the pretty much the coaching carousel that is in the NBA. Was only one opening left, and we do have in tomorrow night's NBA draft. So only the Detroit Pistons at this point have a coaching vacancy. We'll talk about the Lakers hiring JJ Redick. Kenny Atkinson is the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. We'll discuss that. And we'll also discuss Reggie Jackson's comments on the Fox broadcast last Thursday night. And we'll give our game ball and final thoughts. And that's how we'll do the show tonight. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a brief time out and we'll be right back here on Couch Coach Live and we'll kick that intro.
Yeah.
And we're back here on Couch Coach Live this week. And this week's Couch Coach Live is powered by SeatGeek. Head over to SeatGeek.com. Use the promo code CouchCoach to get yourself $20 off your first purchase. So we're back at it again here. So we definitely got. We're gonna address the first elephant in the room tonight. One of many tonight, unfortunately, in more ways than one, figuratively and that as well. So first, we'll discuss the new coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, and JJ Redick. He was hired last week. The fourth grade boys basketball coach of the Brooklyn Basketball Academy was hired by the Los Angeles Lakers. Obviously, we know his prowess NBA career. Also in the media space, former ESPN analyst, Old Man in the Three podcast host, and also co-host Mind the Game with LeBron James, current Laker LeBron James. So let's just talk about Mel, your thoughts on JJ Redick being named the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. What you got?
Congratulations to JJ. I've been putting off watching the press conference. And when I watched it, I said, and I'm trying to figure out why would they hire him over like Sam Cassell, right? And I was like, well, I see why. It seemed like he dressed well, he speak well. I felt like I was watching two Rob Pelinkas while I was watching. You know what I mean? Like, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe he's the coach that's going to be there after LeBron retires. I was also seeing because I don't think LeBron had a problem with Ham. I think it was AD who had a problem with Ham, and I was like, because I thought that maybe JJ and AD played together, but I seen that he came a year later. I don't know. I just, I feel a little more comfortable watching the press conference than I did before. It's gonna grow on me. I don't. To me, they should have never got rid of Frank Vogel. I think Frank Vogel should still be there. That's just my opinion. Um, but man, like this draft that's coming up, even the coaches that's on all these other teams, except for the ones that went to the Suns, still, it's just strange. All these names, you know what I mean? Um, but hey, man, happy birthday to JJ and congratulations. He's in that mix when it comes to Hollywood. Like when I'm watching the clips, and I ain't saying he's one of the main characters, but he sure is in that series a lot more than I thought he would be. That character, you know. So I was like, oh wow. And then the way they had him like dressed up, you know what I mean? And I was like, okay, so they trying to really make a big thing. And I guess he's done well. I mean, I think he's been promoting himself well when you think about him being on ESPN, his podcast and things of that nature. In the last probably 3-4 years, he's really been putting himself out there. So I don't really have nothing too much negative to say, man. It's always some crazy stuff going on when it comes to these sports. So congratulations is all I could say.
Yeah. Shout out to JJ Redick, another 1984 class 2002 guy. Actually, he was the best player in our state of Virginia and our graduating class 2002. So shout out to JJ Redick. I understand the criticism behind like this move, obviously, but we still gotta remember he isn't the only head coach to have become a head coach with no coaching experience.
Right.
I think of as of recent, you look at a guy like a Steve Nash has been in this position before. Who else? Derek Fisher has been in this position before. Steve Kerr, even though Steve Kerr was a GM for the Suns, but this, him going to Golden State was his first quote unquote coaching experience in a sense. Even a guy like a Jason Kidd, a guy that, when he went to Milwaukee, he went to, what did he go first? He go to Brooklyn? I have to remember, but he was he was a first time head coach. Jason Kidd was Brooklyn. Brooklyn was the first time. That's right. Mm-hmm. And so you look at that situation, and even Magic Johnson was in this predicament in a weird way 30 years ago. Yes, and I get what people say, okay, the inexperience, and I get that. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things to have a position like that, coaching the Lakers. But, I mean, I think it's just one of those things where with Jeannie and Rob, they just got to think outside the box. I hope this does work. I don't know if it's going to, like, it's kind of one of the things where it's a wait and see approach. When it's October, November, when they're on a losing streak, yes, they're probably going to be the main topic that we'll probably discuss as far as the Lakers struggle. And it will be times where we will be extremely critical of this hire. I mean, let kind of some games play out. Let's see how all this plays out. And in a weird way, another thing, the parallel, and I know a lot of people, when they made a comparison to him and Pat Riley, people thought that was kind of a stretch. But in a weird way, it's not. Because I think when people think of Pat Riley, they think, okay, yes, the championships, this, that, and the third. I think he won like 4 championships. And, then, had his career with the New York Knicks and then now currently with the Miami Heat. But Pat almost was eerily similar to what JJ was. Because people fail to realize Pat Riley didn't have experience. Remember, he was one of those guys that just like barely hanging on, trying to get on the team. And he's like this quote unquote beach bum that end up just stumbling behind the opportunity to commentate Lakers games. And I forgot what the situation was, like the coach or something that who they were going to hire ended up getting a really bad accident, like a bike accident or something. Yeah. And he got by chance. So there are parallels. And I think sometimes when we look at that situation, we look at the accomplishment of Pat Riley, but some people fail to realize like how Pat Riley began his career and began his whole trajectory with the Lakers. And it's almost eerily kind of similar. But I mean, like I said, it's to have a knee-jerk reaction at this point. Now, I mean, because I don't want to, in October, oh, I was right what I said on, you know, June 25th. No, when they struggle, we gonna talk about it. And if they good,
I think he
let's
know
talk
it.
about it.
Yeah, I think he know it too. I'm sorry. Go ahead, coach.
Yeah, but we know. But yeah, we know when we let them Lakers be a few games under 500. Look after look after Thanksgiving. Oh, we're gonna talk. Oh, we're gonna talk about it.
I
So
think
trust me,
by
it's
him
gonna
getting
happen.
that position,
Potentially.
though, they probably about to get a lot of they probably about to get a few people there that we probably didn't think of that they usually wouldn't get. Um,
Yeah.
and I think because they wanted to work. I think this is a Rob move more than LeBron move because sitting. I mean, I'm sitting, and now I'm thinking of the podcast, right? I'm like, it's almost like I'm just saying this. I don't know this evidence. I'm just thinking outside the box. Now, when you go back and watch the podcast, to me, sometimes you'll see with the wine, you'll see LeBron hold back, and uh, you'll see JJ set up scenarios, and then LeBron will look at him. It's just like us if we end up interviewing somebody. Sometimes when you interview somebody, you play dumb. Like you set a sentence up and leave in the blank or leave in the plot just to get the person to open up to tell the whole story. You know what I mean? So now when I'm looking at that podcast, JJ will say, I wanted to talk about this. And it was almost like JJ was trying to sell himself to LeBron more. Like, you know what I'm saying? If I wanted to do this, it was this play right here. What would you think? You know what I mean? It was more or less JJ finding out a way to sell himself to LeBron because I think he's a Rob Pelinka move.
Yeah,
On that press conference, that press conference, I was like, even how he spoke when he cursed, I said that seemed like how Rob Pelinka would carry things. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
to make it work.
But yeah,
To make it work, they're
well,
gonna have to give a lot.
For sure. What's going on, Lamar? What's going on, Bell? And he's gonna get fired. I mean, that's probably gonna end up happening down the line. Well, I mean, like it can happen down the line. I think, and I get the rationale behind Lamar because obviously, when we think about the Lakers' trajectory as far as this, in this Rob and Genie regime, that guys don't last for no more than 2-3 years. So, I mean, yeah, they have a track record, and hopefully, this is a situation where they don't necessarily, fall into that place. But I mean, it's always a distinct possibility.
I think he'll be there. I think he'll be there 3 to 4 years. I'd be shocked if he's there 1 or 2, because I'm watching that press conference and I'm like, I remember the last time when Charles Ham was on there and he was talking and blah blah blah. I think stereotypically wise, JJ has what they want. He's going to go out there and be political and speak a specific way. He's not going to blame anybody. He's going to be aggressive. He's charismatic. There's a lot of pluses from an owner standpoint. I think they want. Of course, they want to win, and he's also competitive. It's not like he's not. It's not like, and it's weird because we started hearing a lot of stories where people will respect him and say how his, like the Coach K story. I think Carmelo. It's funny. Carmelo told a story about Redick and Kobe and how it was pissing Kobe out. That, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I bet you they done that all the time. That's probably why some people really at first didn't like Redick, and then they get to know him, and then they understand. You know what I mean?
And it's a few things. I know, obviously, I think from it's like I know Jerry West and Kobe rolling over their grave at this higher for sure. I know that for a fact. But I'm just curious how he's gonna command his locker room. And I think that's one thing too. I think when it ultimately boils down to it, like as far as, because I know JJ's a high head. Like how will his temperament get the best of him coaching, and will he get in LeBron's face? Will he get in AD face? Like, will he set kind of in a sense set that tone for other guys to fall in line? So it's a lot to really kind of digest with this situation, and I just find it funny that I honestly think this whole grand scheme of things, we really got played. We really got played because I just find this whole Shams and Woj war essentially came into play with this. Or it was almost like I just found it really funny how like JJ was like this fake tough guy and says, "Oh, I'm gonna deal with Shams when I deal with Shams," and it's funny, that we all knew this was going to happen. Like, that what was it? It was this day, the 25th. So what's the day? So 3 weeks ago, it was all but a done deal. It was all
Right.
but a done deal for JJ going to the Lakers. And then what happened? We woke up that Thursday morning, the day of the the NBA Finals, and they're saying, "Oh well, Dan Hurley could be in the running for the head coaching position." And we're like, well, we knew. And it's like Dan Hurley goes to LA. He don't. They commit the cardinal sin. When you got a guy you're building, you keep him. Okay, he wanted to go to the Billy Joel concert. Guess what? You bring Billy Joel to the crypto building. You don't let him leave. So I knew once they let him go back to New York, that was a smoking mirror. But here we are now, almost 3 weeks after the fact. Yeah, and JJ is the head coach of this franchise.
So, do you think
Yeah.
if you were JJ, would you go get Monty Williams?
Probably at this point, because as far as I think he does need an NBA head coach. So somebody with NBA head coach experience on his staff. Because I'm thinking who could he? Because nobody really is available. I mean, as far as who has NBA coaching experience per se. I mean, you might get some guys here or there, but I mean,
why you think Sam Cassell don't have a job? Dude?
It's weird because even what's the guy from Charlotte? The guy that's coach for the Charlotte. He was an assistant. I think it's Lee. Mm-hmm. He's a coach in Charlotte. So he's a head coach in Charlotte. So I don't know. I find it weird because considering the fact he's played at a high level, he's won 2 championships, well, 3, because he was with Boston in 2008. So I mean, he's a 3-time NBA champion. He's been on that Boston Celtics staff. That's pretty much been an impressive coaching tree. You look at, we talked about Lee, who's in Charlotte, Ime Udoka's in Houston, Will Hardy is in Utah. So it's like all those guys from that staff, for the most part, have got jobs elsewhere. That's not with the current Celtics. I mean, I just found it weird. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if this to me, it almost reminds me of almost like the Eric Bieniemy type situation, where it's like, I don't know. This is obviously prior to him going to Washington and getting exposed in a sense. But yeah, just weird. Like out of all the assistants, he's not as far as a candidate for a coaching candidate. But I mean, who's to say? I mean, maybe Detroit. Detroit got to open him, but I don't want to go him to go to Detroit.
I wouldn't want him to go to Detroit for the simple fact of how they've done coaches, what the last 3-4 coaches they've had, and how they, what I'm saying, like the coaches have success and they go there and then it's horrible. Like it's no way in hell Monty Williams shouldn't still be the coach. As Monty Williams changed Phoenix Suns, in a short period of time. That's what was crazy. He just got Chris, but I don't understand. Like I was like, if anything, maybe they should have went and got Chris Paul, but maybe that was the chemistry that Chris Paul needed. You know what I mean? They're having a coach, because I just don't understand.
Yeah, because Detroit, because you think about Ron Jeremy, Stan Van Gundy, Dwayne Casey, and Monty. But I think even with the Monty situation, they will clean the house anyway, because Troy Weaver is gone there. Right. The GM, Tracy Lane, is there now. Yeah. So that's kind of one of those where I kind of thought that was going to happen. Like, and it's unfair to him. And even though you still got the same ownership group, but they're, another one where they're coughing up $65 million to Monty, which, it's good for him, but, it's kind of like, it just doesn't make any sense. And Now you got number 5th overall pick in the Mars draft. Then the coach who coming in ain't gonna know. I mean, it's confusing. It's
They don't
super
even have
duper
a
confusing. It's
coach.
like they don't have a coach. But yeah.
Shoot, go get get after Mark Jackson. My bad,
Yeah.
I forgot we was on camera. You know, I like I think Monty deserved that $65 million that he's getting, because I think Phoenix Suns did him dirty. But yeah, I was just sitting here thinking. I know they saying they trying to get Rondo. I think Rondo and Dudley deserve to be on the coaching staff, because that's what they said they wanted to do when they was in the bubble. They said they wanted to be on the coaching staff, and I would like to if anything, if they can't get Cassell, maybe Mark. But definitely, if they can go get Monty, I think he needs a couple of head coaches on there. It would be so. Frank Vogel looked so comfortable that first year. Like, if you go back and look at his coaching staff, it was ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, it really was. There was so many head coaches on that staff. You know what I mean? And
and with the Jared Dudley thing, will he be willing to leave Dallas? That's gonna be the kind of the tricky thing. So it's kind of one of those ways, because I think he does need a head coach. God, I wish he could have at least had like the other had Jeff Van Gundy, because obviously Jeff went to LA with the Clippers.
Right.
Like, if he could have had somebody like of that nature, or maybe bring Ron Jeremy back. Even though I know because he with TNT. Maybe
I think they got to spoil him.
In Orlando.
I think he got to start. You will have to anyway. When you see Steve Nash was kind of like, once he went to the Lakers, his whole mystique changed. But JJ is actually, they kind of got, the wave is going his way right now. You know what I mean? Like, getting this job with his podcast, ESPN. Like I said, character and clip. It's a lot of things going his way, and people are questioning this hire. I think they're gonna spoil him, so he won't fail.
Yeah, I mean, they would have to. I mean, at this point, and now it's so late in the game, in the sense who was gonna come to LA. So and now but I mean, it's some guys who could definitely fill up his staff. But yeah, shout out Guy Bell, Tracy Langdon stuck for the Cavs. Facts. The Alaskan assassin, he definitely won't. He won't doing what he was doing at Duke. But yeah, Tracy Langdon was Tracy Langdon. Shout out to Tracy Langdon. That was a way back machine. Shout out to Tracy Langdon. But yeah, good luck to JJ. Good luck to my 1984 brethren. We all gotta stick together. Perk, LeBron, y'all gotta air it out. We can't be having these 84 brethren. Our 84 brothers can't be fighting like that.
And he a VA legend.
84 guys.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I was telling him to do that. I said, man, look. Also, the boy can play a little bit. Like, he got, you know what I mean? He's a VA legend, man. Like, we can't shake it. It's JJ Redick.
Yeah, Cave Springs, class 2002. We are about JJ around here.
Yeah, he got his name on a few records in Virginia, man. Give him what he deserved. Like, didn't he win McDonald's All-Star also?
I don't know if he won MVP. I don't know. I don't know if he won MVP.
I think he did.
Let me see. 2002.
I will say this too about JJ. Something happened. I believe something happened in the league, because I think as time went on, it looked like he was more or less became one of them like always upset players. Came off like nobody really got along with him. Didn't you feel that way?
Yeah, for sure. He's a high head. Yeah, he's a high head. Yeah, that's what and then all the other stuff that he all the stuff that he's kind of endured. Obviously, the stuff that happened at Duke, and him pretty much on the verge of quitting. Yes, JJ. Yeah, JJ got the MVP. Yep.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, balling wise, and I'm very interested, because you would have never thought Steve Kerr Even though Mark Jackson put that team together, you would have never thought Steve Kerr would have had the success coaching the way he's coaching. And then you hear um uh you hear the players talk, and they were saying, Mark had us like this. He said, so when we was being coached by Steve, Steve was like, no, I want y'all to swing it. Because Mark would never want them to do that. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be kind of interesting to see what JJ is going to implement.
Yeah.
Yeah, the press conference, they talking about defense. He talking about two-way players to play a defense. And I'm like, all right, we'll see.
We're gonna see. Because all defense is effort. So we're gonna see if these guys can give you effort. We're gonna figure that out, man.
Right.
Trust me. Today's
when I think of JJ,
press conference,
I think of 3-point shots. I ain't never heard, but like at the same time, I ain't never heard of him being no defensive presence. But we'll see.
Yeah,
Frank Vogel was a defensive coach. So
yep.
You know what Frank Vogel's problem is? Frank Vogel's problem is who's the coach that used to coach Miami? That was the assistant coach for Frank Vogel for the Lakers. The light skinned dude. What's his name? I think he.
David Fizdale. Fizdale.
That's his problem. Fizdale with him, it does not work. He needs to stay away from Fizdale. He's been going downhill ever since Fizdale been beside him. No, just let it go. That's one dude can't even keep a job.
Yeah. So, and of course, Petty, you had the perfect segue. The Cavs got a new head coach, and obviously, I'm excited about this coaching hire. Obviously, for more words than one. So we'll dive into that right now. So we'll talk about Kenny Atkinson. So Kenny Atkinson, the former Warriors assistant head coach. Also, he was a former Nets head coach from 2016 to 2020. Is now the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Other accolades, he's in the University of Richmond Hall of Fame, class 2010. He led the Richmond Spiders to the Sweet 16 in 1988. Their first appearance in the Sweet 16. Obviously, did go to Sweet 16 back in 2011. But Kenny Atkinson finally got a new home. I've been waiting for this for 4 long years. But Kenny Atkinson has a new home. He's new head coach of Cleveland Cavaliers. Your thoughts on him, Maui?
Congratulations. The reason I'm saying congratulations, I thought the Nets did him dirty. And he was able to get him a championship by being with the Warriors. So just congratulations to him. The Cleveland Cavaliers is not a bad team. They are a playoff team. They're what you want to say, between a 3 and a 6 seed? Would you think they're like between 3 and 6 in the Eastern Conference?
They were 4th this year. Yeah, they were 4th in the Eastern Conference this year.
So yeah, they like in the middle.
They beat Orlando.
So they're not a bad
team.
They
were 4-5. They're the 4-5. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My dad would say he did not like the last coach, JB Bickerstaff, but they went to the play with him. They went to the they played 17 playoff games and they won 6 out of 11. But you got to look at it like this: the stars was hurt. LeVert was always hurt. Mitchell was hurt. Big man was hurt. There's a lot of people. Maybe they were more upset that he wasn't playing certain players like they should, or maybe he didn't have players. I don't know. But I was a little shocked that they fired him. But Kenny got the job, and then you say, okay, why did Kenny get the job? Well, Kenny drafted LeVert and what's my big name? Jay Allen. He drafted them. You know what I mean? So he should have some comfort with those guys.
Jared
Allen, yeah. He drafted those two. So I'm sure that's going to make them happy. And then Jared Allen. He drafted them and he drafted LeVert. So that should be good for them. Like I think Cleveland's not a bad team. They just probably need one more weapon, 1 or 2 more weapons, and they actually be all right. Like they beat Boston this and they, you know what I mean, this year in the playoffs. So I'm just gonna say shout out to him, man. Like I think I said, the Nets did him dirty. He got a championship now. He's heading the Cleveland Cavaliers team. It's not a lot of pressure on him. They're a decent team. He just got to lock in Donovan Mitchell, and which I don't really see him going anywhere. I think he needs to be exactly where he's at. You know what I mean? That's about it, man. Like, I don't really, I'm just happy for him. Like, I don't have anything negative to say. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, so I think when he left, that's when they got rid of the LeVert and Allen, right? When they fired him, didn't they trade them? Like, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, they traded him. Yeah, because remember he got traded the week before. Well, no, not even the week. They let him go. That's how crazy 2020 is in its bizarre way. So they got rid of him March the 7th. And then that Wednesday they canceled the game. So I think they end up because what part of they traded him for, I forgot who did they end up getting that from Cleveland? I don't even remember. And it was like a 3-way deal because that was a thing that I think like Victor Oladipo. Oh, it was like a 3 or 14 trade. It was something bizarre because it was like
they got what's the name?
What?
But it's weird
because it was the Kyrie deal, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the Kyrie deal.
No,
that Kyrie and him supposedly didn't get a loan or something like that, and Kyrie and them didn't even play, if I'm not mistaken.
But I think they played a little bit. Oh, no, sorry, I said because Kyrie was on that team at that time. It's so crazy. I think
Kyrie was on the team, and then they got KD.
Because he was hurt. Remember, he was supposed to come back from the Achilles, but then obviously COVID and all that stuff happened. And,
right?
Because he got hurt in January to the end of January, but June of 2019.
That's what I'm saying. That's messed up, man. Like Kenny was there through the rough times to rebuild, and he can coach because even D'Angelo Russell, when he was there, he was an all-star. He was an all-star. Yeah. You know what I mean? So when you see that, D'Angelo Russell's been stinking ever since then. Oh my God, you know what I mean? Yeah. Please get rid of him. JJ, you be my dude. You get rid of him. Please. But man, shout out Kenny Axel. Go get you some Swinsons and go to Cobb and get some Gino.
But I love this move for him. Obviously, like we talked about what he did in Brooklyn. Considering the fact, I'm telling you that Brooklyn thing, it trips me out. Like he had zero. He had literally those three first round picks that end up being swaps. He literally could have had 3 top 10 draft picks that end up turning out to be Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Colin Sexton, which is crazy to think like how he could have done. And then once he kind of built that team, I think it was 2018 or 2019, they ended up going to playoffs. They lost to Philly. But he built that team, and now you look at this Cleveland situation, the cupboard is embarrassed. I definitely think this is going to be a great opportunity for him. And as far as player development, and I'm just curious how this team will go forward with Donovan Mitchell and or Darius Garland, like who's leaving, who's staying. It's going to be a really interesting decision of how that's going to go. But I definitely like this for Kenny. He will have an opportunity to, and the beauty thing about the situation, there will be somewhat pressure because obviously they made it to the second round. To me, they're going to expect him to make it to the second round, advance maybe to the Eastern Conference Finals. It's going to be some more of an expectation for him compared to Brooklyn. Like Brooklyn was more so, hey, we know the cupboard's bare, just maintain us. So I think he has that type of team where, because I still think, I know we talked about Cleveland being, they were the 4th seed, but at times Cleveland was like the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference for a good little while last year. So they have an opportunity.
I felt like Cleveland and Orlando was probably one of the most consistent teams in the East. That they just stayed around the same,
Yeah. And that's like to my point where essentially when you look at what they can, had a possibility. Because I always looked at Cleveland as a team that, they've been underachieving because they have the roster, they got the talent, and now you have their head coach. And like I said, it did suck that JB Bickerstaff didn't get a shot, but obviously there's an internal situation where I think some of the players just won't feel in JB coaching.
Right.
So I think that's just the reason why he was let go. But got playoff experience. They won a game 7 at home. So you look at, this is, you have a solid team here, and I think they have a legitimate shot. It just depends on how everything goes in free agency in an offseason. They have a legitimate shot to continue in the Eastern Conference, I think, in my personal opinion. I mean, you still got the Bostons, you still got the Philly, because we don't know what Philly going to happen. I know some things could be brewing, obviously, if they, especially if they, they let off Tobias Harris contract. I mean, they can get a max guy potentially, and they could be a team that we can look for in the Eastern Conference. And then who knows what the Knicks going to do in the offseason. I know they're going to have a little bit of money since OG is going to be a free agent. So, yeah, I love it. And I think and hopefully Kenny can stay longer than his 4-year tenure in Brooklyn, and he could potentially be their long-term head coach, and and hopefully there won't be a homecoming that could potentially ruin Kenny Atkinson in a sense. So I'll just leave it at that. But Kenny Atkinson, I'm thrilled for this opportunity for him. I'm so happy for Kenny Atkinson because he deserves it. He deserves the opportunity. I know he was going to go to Charlotte a few years back. Thank God he didn't go to Charlotte.
Yeah, I remember that.
But, but thank goodness he didn't go to Charlotte. He rescinded it, and now he's in a way better situation in Cleveland. Yeah. So definitely huge shout out to Kenny Atkinson, man. Really happy for him. Extremely happy for him. Yeah. Extremely happy. Yeah.
So let me ask you, you think what other piece you think they need?
I think
they need to stay healthy.
Because you look at that backcourt, you got good there. I think, and this more experience. I think the thing is they ran into a buzzsaw. Like you lose a Donovan Mitchell, a Jared Allen, and you're playing like a Boston Celtics team. Yeah, it's gonna. Yeah, I mean, and I don't know what's going to end up ultimately happen with either Garland or Donovan Mitchell.
Then that's who's that other player they had on the bench that I'm hearing shouldn't be on the bench? What's his name?
They shouldn't be on the bench.
Is it Bonnie?
Imani Bates.
Yeah. I think that's why the coach got fired. I think that's why he got fired. I think they feel like they should have been using him more. I think that's one of the reasons why he might have got fired.
But he's gonna get there. I know and that's the one thing I like how they've been developing him slowly. Like he's been being reassigned to the G League and is doing the thing. He's dominating G League. Right. So as long as he and I don't think he had any infraction this year. I don't think nothing happened crazy with him last year. I know a situation happened when he was at Eastern Michigan, but I think he hasn't had any issues. I don't think ever since Eastern Michigan. But yeah, and they got.
You like how they've been working with him?
Yeah, because you got to think he's a second round pick, so it's kind of like one of those things where it's like you just ease him into the rotation. But I definitely think he will. The good thing about it, he's going to get better. The beauty thing about him is, he's going to get there, and I think the fact that he's receptive to it, because I think he going to potentially be he could be part of this team eventually down the road, and he's taking those necessary steps. Because remember, he was another one where he was supposed to be like the new Kevin Durant. I mean, I'm telling you, it was so bizarre. That's when I stopped kind of when it came to evaluating like middle school basketball players, because I'm telling you, when Imani Bates was in middle school, people was like, "Oh yeah, he's the next Kevin Durant. He's the next Kevin Durant," and I'm like, "All right, we got to slow this down. Like, and I mean, he had the potential. I mean, I think what is he 170. So I mean, he fits the Kevin Durant mold in a sense, especially from a LB standpoint. But but he has the potential, and it's one of the things where I think with time he'll get there. And and from the Cavs games I've seen, he's engaged in a huddle when he's there. So I think he's going to get there. I think he's on the right track.
Okay,
for sure.
Okay. I was watching something, and some of the ex NBA players was complaining. They felt like that he should have been really in the mix a little bit more, especially with Donovan being hurt and Garland kind of. You know how, like, when Garland first got there his first year, like, he played a certain way, and now it seems like he's pulling back more. You know what I mean? He's not as consistent as he was before. That's why I asked the question.
But yeah, I mean, and they got good guys. I mean, you think about like Evan Mobley. I think he's another one. I definitely hope that Coach Atkinson can kind of get the best out of him. I mean, they got some solid guys on that team, and I think if they kind of put everything together and help them develop. I like it. Yeah, I definitely think he's gonna. I think Cleveland can do some stuff. So
right.
God needs to be more aggressive. Yeah, I mean, hey,
that's exactly what I was talking about when he was. I think he was wasn't he an All-Star?
He was. I don't know if he was this year, but he's been an All-Star. He's an All-Star.
He's been an All-Star, right? And like I said, he seemed like he pulled back. I don't know if it's because Donovan's there or what, but he seemed like he ain't as aggressive as he was. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We're gonna see. I mean, I don't know. I mean, who he represent? Yeah, he was an All-Star. I don't know if it was this year or 2023. I knew it was one of the years. Yeah. But who represents? Like I say, who represents Darius Garland?
Oh, don't start that, man.
He's a clutch. So I mean, but he talked about Darius Garland though. I'm just saying. He talked about Darius Garland. And we know. I'm just saying, just buckle up this summer. Yep. And Lamar, no.
I'm sure Lamar.
All I gotta say, it might be a bumpy ride this summer, but hey, we all know he keep. That's one thing with and it's not no diss on Rich Paul, but he's one of those kind of people. It's like if he represented me, we'd be best friends. Because he gonna always look out for you. He gonna look out for you, regardless of whatever happened. Because I'm telling you, if you have him as your own, not your own, as your agent, you're good. Because he gonna be the one that's gonna be in the mud and doing the dirty work, and So, I mean, that's what I said. I mean, I don't, but hey, that's what he's supposed to do. He doing his job,
right? He's doing his job.
And I know sometimes, he's doing his job. And I know some people it pisses people off, but hey, that's his job. That's what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to get the best.
I mean, some of it looks extremely unfair, but some people. They play with their heart. They want to be loyal. I mean, give you two examples. You got Dame. Dame never wanted to leave Portland, and ever since he left Portland, look what happened. He's going through a divorce, injuries. The season really didn't go like he wanted to. Did they make the playoffs? They did make the playoffs, right?
The Bucks, and they lost. They lost the Pacers.
Yep. Right. So, and then you trickle back. Holiday finally got a home that he was happy at. Didn't want to leave the Bucks, and what they do, they traded him to Portland. Then he ended up going to Boston, and to me, he didn't have to get it, but if you watched, he was the Finals MVP.
Yep, They shoot. Milwaukee
So
handed them the
regardless,
trophy.
in the end of the day, it's gonna be business. You know what I'm saying? It's business.
Sure.
Yeah, you want to be like you want to do the team thing and all that other stuff. And at the end of the day, it's business. Like hey, like I said, I'm watching clips. That's one thing that I'm noticing on there. Like when Mr. Sterling say something, he'd be like, "Man, this is business. Y'all keep getting upset about this, and that, but it's business." You know what I'm saying? So since you did this, you need to do that. Like, can't get upset with him. As a fan, it sucks. As a fan, it sucks. You know what I mean?
For
But it
sure.
takes
Okay,
it takes 20 years later. It takes 20 years later for you to get the whole truth. And you be like, damn, the whole time I'm thinking they making him look like this, or they making the team look like this. Like for instance, real quick, Aaron Rodgers. You see this stuff with Aaron Rodgers that's going on right now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Don't that remind you of Brett Favre? You remember back in the day?
Yeah. So it's but more of an extreme where it's just like he, but at least he's not saying he retiring and then, but just his bouts are kind of tricky. Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. That's why it's like, as a fan, you can't really get mad at like the player empowerment type situation. When we, like the whole thing. Because I know a lot of people are mad about LeBron. Potentially, well, he will opt out. He'll be a free agent because Rich Paul's spilled the beans. But do you blame him? Like, because he's a rabbit that has the gun. So guess what? He has the leverage. So he can do whatever. Because you see how all these rumors and how he's being linked to certain teams. All he potentially go to Phoenix. He could go to Dallas. And say, sir, but it's also going to come up to him. And then now they're thinking, well, okay, they made that move for JJ for him to go to LA, like that type of stuff. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like that's where this generation of guys who can do it, where they do it like that, because I don't want to be at the mercy like he talked, like when we talked about, shout out to my little nephew Harrison Barnes when he got traded at halftime, because he's a rabbit but he don't have a gun. It's not fun. It's not fun unless when a rabbit got the gun, and LeBron James is the rabbit with the gun. So
got one more better. Kenyon Martin said that he was trying to go to Utah Jazz. He said with the Nets he could have got this, but then he had already had it set up where he was going to be able to go to the Jazz and get like 20 million more. But they didn't know behind the scenes on some other stuff, Carlos Bruiser ended up going there and messed everything up. Like, you got to understand, man, like you go through, and that's why it's all expensive. Pee-wee going all the way up to like, training until you get like to college. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of money. AAU is a lot of money that you put in, and then when you get to that point, I know you want to win with a team, but hopefully the team do like the team did Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. They did them right. They took care of them. You know what I mean? Everybody forget Al Horford had to leave. Remember that? Yeah, Al had to leave. Then he go play for Philly. And then he ended up coming back.
Yeah, he went to Philly. Yeah, he a year or two. Yeah.
Yeah, but a year or two, then he came back. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to, it's business. They couldn't keep him. Just like 2020 Lakers, when they wanted a bubble, I didn't want them to get rid of Rondo. But if you remember, nobody wanted Rondo. Nobody wanted him. He did so well that he had to go get what he had to go where the money was. It is what it is. That might be the last time he get a contract like that.
And it was. It was. Because he went to Atlanta. He went to Atlanta, and then he got traded to the Clippers. And then after that, that was it.
He went to the Lakers. And then Frank Vogel said, man, because it had changed so much by the time he got back, he was like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get you the playing time. Like, I mean, yeah, he didn't even said he wanted to go. He didn't go there. But I'm just saying, even in that team, there was a bunch of players that, like Troy Daniels was on that team. And he was like, I had to put myself and my family first, and he went to Utah and got paid.
Yeah. Shout out to Troy Daniels, VCU.
Yeah, well, I said his name. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what you got to do. I mean, at the end of the day,
Yeah,
that's because they gonna look out for their best interest. So you got to look out for yourself. It's like anything that you do nowadays where it's different. You have to look out for yourself because at the end of the day, no one's gonna look out for you.
mm-hmm.
You have to look out for yourself. And yes, it is a business, but hey, it's like that. Yep.
Remember what Pat Riley said about Jimmy Butler? He was like they was talking about extension or something, and he said, "Well, we got to look to that. I can't pay somebody a certain amount of money if they're not going to be on the court. Injuries, blah blah blah." And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? He said,
You're
so we
right.
got to really
You're
look
right.
into that. Yeah, he right. He definitely right. Like
You did right. Yeah. Yeah,
so
for sure.
got to
Oh
put business
yeah.
first.
Yeah, for
Sucks,
sure.
but it is what it is.
You got to have your leverage. Yep. And that's why like people are so mad about this player empowerment thing. It's like they're mad because once upon a time they was the ones that had to be the ones that kind of bit the bullet. But now with everything going on and they hold the keys, that's why people are mad. But that's when guys want to get traded, you shouldn't trade them anywhere. Hey, they want out, let them go. Let them
One
go. Get
more.
something for them. I do it a favor.
Right.
Yep.
One more. James Harden. If James Harden would have stayed his butt in Houston, he would not be in the predicament he in right now. He would have been the highest paid player. Remember that? They were talking about
Yeah.
if he do an extension there,
He
he would
opted
have
out.
got like over
He opted
$500
out.
million.
He opted out. Yep. Yep. And
And
now he another one. He a free agent. So what's gonna happen with him next week? So that's the thing where it's just like, yeah, he a free agent. I think he gonna walk just like PG potentially in LA. So yeah. 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 Be like that though.
right.
But yeah. Yeah, so we'll focus our attention on baseball. So, if you watched our show last week, we talked about the unfortunate death of Willie Mays, and we talked about the significance of the timing of it, the unfortunate timing of his passing, and that was obviously that whole entire week. They were MLB was going back to Rickwood Field in Alabama. Birmingham, Alabama. That's where the Black Barons of the Negro Leagues play baseball there. So on the broadcast, it was Kevin Burkhardt, A-Rod, uh, David Ortiz, and also Derek Jeter. They're on the call, and they were sitting with Reggie Jackson. So Reggie Jackson, they asked him, as far as what it felt like to kind of get back, come back to Alabama, after all this, and obviously, I think we all kind of thought it was going to be somewhat of a like kind of a soft, like, oh yeah, this is a great opportunity, this, that, and third. But what we're going to do, we'll cue the clip of the video. So it's a 3-minute long video. Once again, this is fair use. This video is courtesy of Fox. So we're gonna play that, and you'll hear what Reggie Jackson said as far as his return back to Alabama and just the significance of everything. So we'll play that right now.
The Jackie Robinson, the Reggie Jacksons, the three of us wouldn't have an opportunity to play. How emotional is it for you to come back to a play that you played with one of the greatest teams around?
Alex, when people ask me a question like that, it's like coming back here is not easy. The racism that I played here, when I played here, the difficulty of going through different places where we traveled. Fortunately, I had a manager and I had players on the team that helped me get through it. But I wouldn't wish it on anybody. People said to me today, I spoke, and they said, you think you're a better person, you think you won when you played here in Concord. I said, I would never want to do it again. I walked into restaurants and they would point at me and said, can't eat here. I would go to a hotel and they say, the can't stay here. We went to Charlie Finley's country club for a welcome home dinner, and they pointed me out with the N-word. He can't come in here. Finley marched the whole team out. Finally, they let me in there. He said, we're going to go to the diner and eat hamburgers. We'll go where we're wanted. Fortunately, I had a manager, Johnny McNamara, that if I couldn't eat in the place, nobody would eat. We'd get food to travel. If I couldn't stay in a hotel, they'd drive to the next hotel and find a place where I could stay. Had it not been for Raleigh Fingers, Johnny McNamara, Dave Duncan, Joe and Sharon Rudy, I slept on their couch 3-4 nights a week for about a month and a half. Finally, they were threatened that they would burn our apartment complex down unless I got out. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. The year I came here, Bull Connor was the sheriff the year before. And they took minor league baseball out of here because in 1963, the Klan murdered 4 black girls, children, in 11, 12, 14 years old at a church here and never got indicted. They were from the Klan. Life magazine did a story on them like they were being honored. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. At the same time, had it not been for my white friends, had it not been for a white manager, and Rudy, Fingers, and Duncan, and Lee Myers, I would have never made it. I was too physically violent. I was ready to physically fight I'd have got killed here because I'd have beat someone's ass, and you'd have saw me in an oak tree somewhere.
Reggie, I can't.
Yeah, so very powerful from Reggie Jackson. What's your thoughts on Reggie Jackson's statement?
Yeah, man. That was the 60s. I know it seemed like it was a long time ago, but deep now, it ain't as long as, you know what I mean? That was 1963. You know what I mean?
Like 67, yeah, when it happened. Yeah, 67 when that happened.
67?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, man, like, okay, even worse. That I was born in 78. I'm just saying there was a time where you, as black people, we couldn't even water fountain, could use the same bathroom, it make a difference what type of celebrity you were. You had to go through the back. And the thing of it was, there were some people that might have been cool, that, you know what I'm saying, it is what they was cool, but they was like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? You go through the back, you still could chill, but still, man, like, that's why I don't be understanding some of the stuff. The whole time I thought of, when I was hearing this, I said, I think about this all the time, because you still can't go to places. Like, I still cannot just go to Philadelphia and get me a famous cheesesteak that's in somebody's hood. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I still can't go to Roscoe's, chicken and waffles in South Central somewhere because they say it's the roughest time, but it's supposed to be the best Roscoe's. You know what I mean? And I always go back to the time. That's crazy, because it was a certain time that you couldn't even eat at certain places back in the day because of the color of your skin. But the best thing about it was, the story was, to having genuine people that was of a different race still with him to give him some type of support, saying, well, we can't eat here, and he can't eat here, we're not eating here. So that was cool. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's really sad.
Yeah, when I first heard it, it broke my heart. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It was a little bit emotional for me, because I'm like, just considering the fact that this is real. I mean, it's real, and it's just, this was a reality, and this was less than 60 years ago. And I think that's what I think when people, like you said, people think that this stuff happened hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Yeah. No, this is recent. This is something where, somebody like a Reggie Jackson, who can say this vividly and with great detail, as a 77-year-old man, can still talk about an experience like that as if it just happened yesterday. Mm-hmm. So and just the fact that Yeah, and I think people and I give credit to Fox. I give them credit, the producers, to let it ride. And
Never
we
thought, yeah,
did blank out the NIGER, you know,
yeah,
part of it, because I really wanted to find one that him saying that, because I wanted to kind of capsulate that
right,
word and realize that's what people were saying
right,
in that moment for him. And just to think that you know, it harkens back, because I think about a time I actually went to the African American Museum, the Smithsonian in DC, and I never knew about this thing called the Green Book, where they had a thing where there's a book that illustrated, as far as what are the places that you can go, where you can go, get your car repaired, go grab something to eat, go, places that are
mm,
safe for you. And it's just think to myself, like, I couldn't imagine having to deal with that type of anxiety of, okay, especially in their case, you playing baseball all evening, you're tired, you're ready to just go and go in for the night. You go to this hotel, they're telling you you can't go in because you're black. You can't go in, you can't eat here because of that. You think to yourself, like, and it's heartbreaking. It's just one of those things where it's just I always think about that type of stuff, and just and I think people, of course, you'll have people that say, well, you never experienced it, but you don't have to experience that to not to have empathy and have that type of thought of, was my ancestors this way? And I know they were. I know, and me, being from the South, this was a reality. This is something where it's not just a situation where this is a made up fairy tale. This was the reality, and it's extremely heartbreaking. And even the celebrity of a Reggie Jackson, a young baseball player and athlete, because you know how we are nowadays, where we idolize these guys. There's a society that idolizes these athletes, and to think he got treated like a second class citizen. Just imagine guys, regular folks, how they were treated,
right,
So, and like you said, it was, and I definitely give credit to, like, his manager, like you said, the Ruby family, who allowed him to spend the night with them. Even with that, they
right,
threatened the family to let to burn down the whole entire building. You're gonna burn down an apartment just because of one person sleeping in somebody's sofa. Like, and it's not like the best accommodations there. So it's just like, you would literally burn down an apartment because of the hatred, because Reggie Jackson, who is black, is sleeping on somebody's sofa in one of the buildings in that apartment. You're gonna risk other people's lives just for that. And like you said, and I get, like you said, give credit to, like, his manager and all those people who helped
right,
him get, because like you said, because he was combative, and he, like you said, he right, because guess what, if he would have fought back, he know, and we said it the jokingly way, but yes, he would have been in the oak tree, he would have been hanging from an oak tree. And it's
right,
and we say it, and I'm not glad he kind of in that the dark humor of that, but that was a reality. Because if you fought back, he, like he said, I would have been on an oak tree, and he was 100% right, because that's what would have happened. And it's heartbreaking. And like, and even when he brought up the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing,
right,
that's another thing. I knew about that, and just the fact of, you know 14, 11-year-old girls,
yeah,
four girls getting
yeah,
killed. Nobody there was no legal action behind that. And it's just tragic to think, like, these children could still possibly be alive. I mean, because that happened in 1963. So it's just like, it's that type of stuff, and it's really, it breaks your heart, and it just brings you back to a place where it's just, it's heartbreaking, and it just gets you to a point where the anger kind of gets there, in a sense, and it just gets to a point where those emotions, and you just really think about that time period, and just how, you know you think of how your family was treated then. How how was my at the time my uncles and aunts, my mother was treated back in 1967. I think about that. I think about my late grandmother. I think about my so I think about all that type of stuff. So it
I do
really
too.
brought me to a point where it really was emotional, man. We would have did it Friday. I think I would have been. It was a lot when I heard it Friday. It was a lot, man.
Yeah, my grandmother, my father's grandmother, she had a real big house. Well, supposedly, I don't know if it's true or not, but she had one of those houses, and I guess it might have been how that was back in the day, where if an act would come in, they sing whatever. She used to have a restaurant, but a lot of them used to stay at the big house. You know what I mean? Like, because they couldn't go, and they got to the point where they were letting them go into certain places or hotels or something like that, but they would rather be around regular people. You know what I mean? Or want to be around folks that they ain't have nothing to worry about, ain't gonna steal their stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even though times have changed, I'm saying this on purpose, because even though it was that way back then, it's still somewhere that you can't just go anywhere anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't another race saying they got to go through the back or we can't feed them, but there is certain places you can't just go in anymore and just get something to eat or just this and that. And it shouldn't really be that way. Like, if I want some good fried chicken and greens, I should be able to go to somewhere on the south side, and you know what I mean, that Aunt Keisha's or something like that, without somebody thinking that somebody's gonna do something to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think the difference between that one, I think when we look at it like a present day, okay, like in certain areas that we would avoid because of potential violence, even amongst our own race, but more so of like, heck, going like in it, like just say for instance, like where I'm at, I could imagine, one day walking down the street, maybe 2 or 3 blocks from here, go to a restaurant and they say you can't come in because you black. Like, I have money. I'm hungry. I'm a customer.
Right.
What's stopping me from not eating here or anything, and any of that type of stuff? So it's that's where it gets in, and like I talked about the whole situation with the Green Book, and it's sad to think, because I even was telling after I went and I talked to my mom about it, I was like, it's crazy to think. Even when you're traveling cross country, it's already a sense of anxiety. But could you just imagine trying to, trying to stop somewhere and then you find out it's the wrong place, the wrong place to go. And it's just one of those things where, and that's what what Reggie Jackson illustrated.
Can I ask a personal question?
Yeah.
Have you ever been in that situation before? Or felt like that?
As far as being segregated,
they either said it, they either said it or made you feel like, okay, yeah, I don't need to be in here because I'm not
wanted. No one has never said that, but there's always a sense where you go somewhere where it's like that, but they're not gonna, like what Reggie Jackson said, get that out of here. Like, I've never had that before, but you always had a sense. But even with that, I'm still gonna go because you're not going to deter me from that, because we're done with that type of situation. Like, as far as when it comes to, you're not just gonna point me out and tell me that, with that, So
I was in I was on 460 since meeting. I ain't gonna say where I was actually at, but there's a great diner there. Let's just say that. So I had I was at the post office. I went across the street and got me a pumpkin. For me and my daughter, I got a couple pumpkins so she can carve them. This is like her October, probably around your birthday. And I went in the place and they had like this building and they had a car audio place and their own little restaurant. So I walk in to pay for it, and they had all the old like penny candy. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh man, y'all got now laters and everything. But out of the corner of my eye, I saw like 3 of the mechanics at the doorway with wrenches staring at me. You know what I mean? And then it was like 3 dudes sitting at the tables. They was reading their paper, getting ready for their lunch. And I turned around and said, "How you gentlemen doing?" I had to say it like 2 or 3 times. And they said, "Hey, what's up?" But it was a simple fact that, and it's my route, that them 3 dudes was at the wrenches. I'm like, well, what, you know what I mean? Just paying for, you know what I mean? Like, just paying for some pumpkins and some now laters, bro. Like, you know.
Yeah. Disrespectful, yeah. And I think, matter of fact, I think my situation, it happened in Nebraska, out of all places, where I had a situation. This is recent, so it's 2016, 2018,
right.
Yeah, and it's but that just shows you, even though she didn't say it, but her eyes, her body language, her tone, it almost looked as if like she thought I was like a thief, or it's like I don't belong here, because obviously when we were in these hick towns, probably the store maybe another 2 or 3 miles away from another store or civilization at that. Oh yeah, it happens, and this is, but yeah, and that's one thing I'm glad Reggie Jackson said what he said. I think a lot of people, because I think people like to sweep issues like this under the rug. And I think a lot of people probably thought that he was going to give a PC answer and say, oh, yeah, like the classic, like, okay, we've overcame it. Like the whole situation, like everybody, when people talk about, overcoming it, this, that, and third. But he talked about how really got it. And I think I really appreciate him saying that, because I think some people fail and take a blind eye to the fact that, yes, this is real. This happens. And this isn't just something that you read out of a textbook. No, there's people that still actually are living, breathing, and thriving that have had these situations. And it's so, and then like and I know I haven't, me being 39, I haven't really hasn't experienced the quote unquote overt racism like a Reggie Jackson, but there's a point where you can still empathize and have empathy for a situation. And I think, and I'm glad he brought that to the forefront, because I think as time progressed, as generations, fade, these stories, we need these stories. We need this type of stuff need to be documented.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that Fox didn't step in. They didn't. They just let him talk, and let him talk freely, and let him just give the whole and nothing but the truth. But definitely salute Reggie Jackson, man. And crazy to think, and that's one thing too. You never, and obviously the surface stuff I know about Reggie Jackson, Mr. October, doing his thing with the Yankees, this and the third. And then him talking about this experience, and it's one thing I never really thought about it, because that's another thing where too I'm like, because I know Reggie Jackson was around in the 70s and the 80s. So I think he retired like in 87. You forget there was a part of him when he was playing in the 60s. So yeah, it's that needs to be in the museum. That needs to be
I always like talking to.
That needs to go to Cooperstown. That species, that 3-minute sound bite needs to go to Cooperstown.
Yeah. Like I always like talking to them, because I know that older people, like, what I'm saying, like that grew up, that worked around there and was coming around, that's from those times. Now I love talking to them, because I really want to know how they look at the world now, because it's the same but different than it was then. And you know what I mean? Like, just with technology and how everybody kind of like sweep everything under the rug, and everybody try to, all these different things that's going on now. I like talking to them to see how, what they think about, you know what I mean? Like how, because it's because of them, a lot of things have changed, you know what I mean? But there's still things there to work on,
For sure. Yeah. And it's to show you, like, and it's generations of this. So it's it's there's different ways of it now, but I mean, obviously, there's levels to it, and
it's just like Alex Rodriguez said, because of everything y'all went through with that team, we're able. If it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? And it's true.
True.
And it's showing you that was he was part of the foundation. Like he had to sleep on somebody's couch because they went. That's crazy. Well, that's not crazy. It's really not.
Yeah.
It's just.
But that was the times. That's the times. That was and right. It's the times. It's the times, and a lot of people will say, well, you know, if we didn't have that context of the year, they'd be like, oh, that would have been in the 1800s. That story would have been from no.
That's crazy. I really thought that was 63. That's 67. That's
because the bombing was in 60s. It was in 63.
Yeah.
When he talked about the bombing,
right?
Yeah, that was in 1967. Crazy. Yeah. But like I said, I'm just that needs, like I'm gonna say it again. That 3-minute soundbite needs to be in Cooperstown. It needs to be it needs to be in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Right.
To let people know it needs to be in the African American History Museum in across the country, to let people know, you know, this happened.
Right.
Because 50 years from now, when that generation is gone, some of this generation could be potentially gone. These people need to know, going forward, these next generation, they need to know that this stuff happened. Because I know what they're trying to do in schools and trying to kind of, when it comes to race relations and stuff that happened, they want to sweep that under the rug. They want to act as if like this was, this is a part of history.
Right.
And people need to know. And that's the thing I love about the internet. I think that's been the best thing for us. That's been our saving grace, the internet. Because we're gonna always have this. We have that thirst for knowledge. We have the knowledge accessible. Mm-hmm. So you can Google search, and this will come up, and you can listen to that 3-minute soundbite unlimitedly. You don't have to go to a library and look into an encyclopedia. You don't have to. At once upon a time, you didn't have access to a computer. You had to go to a library to go into a computer and dig up this information. Right. You have a cell phone. You can pull this type of stuff up, and that's one thing too, where that has been the biggest equalizer between society. I think having people have access to the internet, because at the end of the day, people can hide and sweep stuff under the rug, but it's still there. You can find it, and it's at your fingertips. So yeah, they will hide it, and I think that's imperative for us. I'm not a parent, but like as far as people who have parents where they have these programs where they're trying to scrap, stuff that happened as far as slavery and all this type of stuff, Jim Crow and all that type of stuff. No, teach your kids this. Teach your kids this type of stuff, because this stuff is real. And this stuff happened, and and it's not like a situation to get mad at other people. No, just be informed. This happened. Know where you came from, and you know that this happened. It's the time period this happened. Unfortunately,
I watched Killers of the Flower Moon with my daughter, and then she's googling up all the names, and then she was like, "They didn't really go to jail that long." You know what I mean? So she's getting all the information, and then we watched Mississippi Burning, which is probably about the 3 students, the 2 Jewish guys and a black dude that got killed in Mississippi, that was getting people to register to vote. Shout out to the guys that was on the road, Kenneth, that he's a big rock the vote, Southern rock and roll Texan, that that's what he used to talk to me and my buddy Tori about, is how those three students inspired him to get out there and protest and get out to get people to vote. And it was a trip, man, like going back and really watching the movie and then looking up the names and seeing how much time they were getting. Like they were getting like 5 years, like to killing people, like, you know what I mean? Like, and then how they were doing it, like they were the people weren't saying they would bomb stuff. Like it was a trip. It was, now my daughter, she's probably never seen anything like this. Now her American history teacher loves my daughter because they debate and they talk about stuff. And he's probably got to be in his 30s. He's probably close to 40. He's never heard of those three students. That's why I brung it up. You know what I'm saying? Because you look, and when it comes to like probably one of the civil rights and things of that nature and getting people to vote, that was one of the biggest stories. You know what I mean? That was one of the biggest stories. He's no. I mean, my daughter was telling he knew nothing about it. Her teacher, nothing about it.
Yeah, because they're not teaching that. That's what I'm telling you. They're not teaching that type of stuff in school because it's like because they want to have a situation where that this generation what they Gen Z? Yeah, no, they're not doing that. I don't know if they Gen Z or not, but whatever. But they want people to think that this type of stuff didn't happen. That's their goal, and that's why, like I always say, it's important for I know I'm not a parent, but like as far as anybody, you have a child in your life or anybody, to let them know these type of things because that type of stuff it's getting like that's gonna be non-existent in schools. It's not gonna they're not gonna talk about that type of stuff. They're gonna do history the way they want to do history.
There was a singer, man, back in the 50s. Cannot remember her name, but man, I can't believe I don't remember her name. She ended up being on drugs though. My daughter looked her up too, and was saying how she had made a song, and the FBI didn't want her to do it. They made a song about people being lynched and hung from trees. And she was told not to sing that song anymore. You know what I mean? And she kept singing it, and then the things just kept happening into her life, and they were following her and all these different things. And she looked it up. She watched it. Got a series on Hulu. I forgot the young lady's name. I'm so sorry, but my daughter did all that, and it's like I know when she get a chance and she's open, I get it just to tell her a few things, and you know what I mean, just so she can know. This is how things were. Like even Kills of the Flower Moon. If anybody get a chance to see it, go see it. Like that was crazy. Give them land and you taking land from them and killing them. People putting life insurance on people and why they get killed, they covering everything up. Like it's crazy, And stuff happened, and you would think it did not happen, but this stuff really did happen.
Yeah. And like you said, they get the land, you plant your own fruits and vegetables, they poison your stuff, and then you end up dying off your own supply because they done poison your land.
Yeah, then they go take your land. Like this stuff really happened. Like this is not a joke made up,
It ain't real. I mean, it's real. It ain't fake. This ain't something that's like I know. Like I don't know if you ever seen something called Queen Sugar. It was a show called Queen Sugar. So that's people think that yes, that was a show, but it's loosely based on stuff that happens. Right. It loosely happens. So it's like
I sat down with a friend of mine's father in Prince George, but he was his grandfather. His grandfather was from Hopewell. His grandfather was one of those cool ones, but the problem was he didn't see racism. So like he was like, man, I had all these friends. I didn't, they were like, well, we can't. He's like, come on, man, let's go over here. He was like, man, we can't go over there. This dude was white, I'm talking to his grandfather. He was like, man, I didn't know. And he said, so I'm asking my buddies. We grew up together. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man, over here. He's like, man, we can't go over there. We don't get in trouble. He's like, what? So then he was like, I used to tell him, come on to the diner, man. We can go get some ice cream on me. He's like, man, we can't go in there. He's like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? And he's like, I just wasn't, I just didn't understand what was going on. Like he was telling me that I was tripping. Then he was talking about great sports guy because he was talking about going to see Moses Malone when they play in the ABA, the minor league stuff. And he was telling me how he used to go watch Dr. J in Richmond. You know what I mean? Like when it came to sports and stuff like that. But he was saying he was so blinded to some of the stuff that was going on around here. You know what I mean? And probably got those boys in a lot of trouble. You know what I'm saying? Because you really didn't see the reality of the stuff that was going on.
Yeah.
That stuff really happened though.
For sure. Yeah, it's not a game. It's not a game. So we'll put a bow on tonight's Couch Coach Live. We'll go around the horn. Game ball. Who gets who's game ball for you?
I got I want to give my game ball to these two situations, but I want to give flowers. But I was gonna get a game. But I want to give flowers to one of my favorite boxers of all time by the name of Roy Jones Jr. Saturday, his son took his life. Yeah. And it's funny, man. A lot of you know who I am. So a lot of people are calling me and say there was a lot of people in the last week that actually have know somebody that has taken their life. But I just want to send flowers to him. I know it's hard. It's one thing to have somebody close to you, but to have your child do it, you know what I mean? And then you being Roy Jones and your child does it, you know what I mean? Roy Jones is an iconic figure in sports and definitely in boxing. So I just want to send flowers to them and his family, love and support and all that. I'm giving the game ball to, what is it? I don't want to say it wrong. Marquis. Is it Marquis? And I want to give it to you.
Marquis. Oh, you talking? Marquis. Oh, you talking about Shay and them? Marquis. Marquis Sports. Marquis Sports.
I hate that I didn't know it was happening. Man. I would have loved to have been there because, just to let some of the coach fans, coaches like my little brother. So I used to have this vision for him. I said, man, I want you to be a Richmond legend. I want you to be able to. I want the kids. I said the kids are gonna know you and blah blah blah. So to see the young kids, you interview the young kids like they're NBA players or college players. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. And I said, there you go, right there. That's the foundation. You know what I'm saying? So that was so cool, man. Game ball to y'all, man. Like for real. You know what I'm saying? Being a part of it. I want to go to the next one, B. I want to be a part.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Because what happened with that one, I was still. It was kind of a last minute thing because I wasn't sure what I was going to do because I was going to do soccer now because I did the Mystic Saturday. I was going to do the Mystic Sunday, but then end up flipping it. So it ended up all working out. Yeah, it was a.
How was it, though, man? It looked like it was cool, man. It looked cool.
It was
like
fun.
They were really in their ball.
Yeah, it was fun. It was good. It was good to see them, and as far as and then I liked how the parents, they were really like, they loved it. They were like, oh yeah, tag me in this, tag me in that. They loved it. The parents, I think they really got a kick out of it. So it was good. It was real fun. It was real fun.
I think that was so cool.
Yeah.
I thought that was so important too, that the camera was in their face and they was able to have a microphone. Because I think the interview process is very important in life, to be honest with you, because you got to interview to get a job. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to be in athletics, you got to be able to do that. Like just doing that, you might get, you know what I'm saying? You actually could probably get recruited just by being able to speak well in an interview. You know that?
Yeah, and I think one of the coaches, I know he talked about, and I know one of the kids that I interviewed, his coach was like, he's a great kid, to lead by example. So and even with the feedback from their coaches, their family. So it was great. It was fun. It was real fun. It was So I got two. So I definitely got to give a huge shout out to the Florida Panthers. Their 2-1 win over the Edmonton Oilers. They won their first Stanley Cup. So shout out to them. But also, we got to give a huge shout out to Connor McDavid. He plays for the Edmonton Oilers. He actually was the Conn Smythe Trophy winner. So that goes for the Stanley Cup MVP. Think about like the NBA Finals MVP, almost like what Jaylen Brown got when the NBA MVP. Now he got on the losing effort. So, but he broke Wayne Gretzky's record for most assists in the playoffs and also led the NHL in scoring during the playoffs. So, like, I'm a casual when it comes to hockey, but if you break a Wayne Gretzky record, you deserve an award. And then I got to give another huge shout out to Tennessee for winning the College World Series, their first ever national championship. Shout out to the Tennessee Vols and the Florida Panthers.
Congrats.
Yeah. And Game 7 was good. It was a good game. I think that's the first time I actually watched hockey from start to finish this year.
I heard when you go to one, it's even funner.
I know.
Yeah, I believe it.
I gotta see. I mean, yeah. Maybe the Capitals could be in the future potentially. I don't know. We'll see. I'll figure that out.
Yeah, I heard
that should be next.
I heard years ago that going to a hockey game was lit. For real.
Yeah, I think I might try to see if I could do it. I might dabble into the Capitals. I just thought about that. That'd be that bad of an idea potentially.
What?
If I ever get like a free weekend, if I get a free weekend in between everything, you know what? That might be a good idea.
Well, I'll tell you this: in about a month, I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna send you on FaceTime, or I'm just gonna send you a picture of it because I know I'm going to be able to get me some Swensons.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm thinking about doing? I don't want to go because my mother lived 2 hours away from Akron, and I was gonna call Geno's and have a conversation with them and see if I can get them to freeze me up some stuff to bring it back.
Oh yeah. But that's the thing. Yeah, that is innovative though.
What?
That's innovative for them to freeze it. I ain't thinking about yeah, that's a good idea though.
Probably open the door. They probably do it more often, but they did it before. My aunt came and she had like 8 of them, and they was frozen. So I got 6. I got 6 of them. They was in the freezer.
Yeah, why not?
Put that joint in the oven, and next thing you know, I was like, "Oh my god, I'm on the west side." It smelled just like Geno's in this gym.
Before we head on out, final words. What you got? Final words. Then social media. Plug away.
Great show. Can't wait the next week. Can't wait to see this draft. I think tomorrow I'm gonna be on Tony Savant. Tomorrow, sometime this week, me and Tony should be linking up. I actually met another dude, you know what I'm saying, in Kroger. His name was Aaron Too Hungry. Supposed to be doing hopefully do some things with him. But yeah, man, great show. Deshaun Morgan, Facebook, DT Morgan 78, Instagram.
Yeah. Once again, another great show. Social media wise, we'll start off first the website, couchcoachlive.com. Social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram on the Couch Coach Live. You can check the podcast out anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, there. And also, we have the podcast episodes on the website. You just do couchcoachlive.com, drop down menu, podcast, and have listen to the podcast there. And yeah. And this wraps up this week's Couch Coach Live, man. We'll catch you guys next week. And we're out.
Welcome.